Hey, okay. This is New Consultant Training 3. My name is Angela Boshin, Senior Sales Director. And this is probably going to be, it may be a little shorter, I don't know, 30 to 40 minutes on this one. And then we just have one more training that I'll record next week. So there's 4 new consultant trainings that I suggest all of my new consultants do just to get a basic knowledge of everything you need to know in a high level as a consultant. And then we delve further into these types of trainings each week on our success meeting, which we also currently have on Zoom every Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. Central. That's subject to change nights. But we've been on Tuesdays for a long time. I expect that to be the same. I record all of those success meetings as well. So, like, if you just can't be on, or generally Tuesday nights are not good for you, but you would like to have that additional training, then you can always go to my YouTube channel, Boshin's Bright Stars, and you can watch any of our success meetings. Very laid back in terms of training, but would help you stay connected as well within our group. Um, as we talked the very first week, it's a great idea to do the MK Confident on Mary Kay in Touch under New Consultants Start Here and just get all the way through that. So I'm doing some of the stuff that's on there, but there's some additional training on there. And so I think it's a great place to start, and it gets you used to all the terms and all of the products and all of the things. And you can also get certified in like skincare and color and all of that as well on Mary Kay in Touch under Education. And none of that hurts to go through all that. And then if you have any questions, you can let me know. So tonight we're going to kind of cover a little bit about how we work in terms of booking. But I also want to show you the ways that we kind of track our work. Because one of the things that we have learned through Mary Kay is that a tracked number grows. So if you're being focused and paying attention based on whatever your goals are, then, and you're tracking that, because Mary Kay is a lot about the numbers game. It's a lot about how many people am I going to talk to get bookings, and how many people am I going to talk to about becoming a consultant with me, possibly either being my customer or a consultant. And it's really not a personal thing. And so I think that's the girls that are willing to stick it out in Mary Kay are the ones that don't take no's personally, because there's going to be no's. And sometimes there's going to be no's up front, and then later they're like, oh, well, it's a yes now. So sometimes it's just a no for now, but it truly is a numbers game. And if you know your numbers and you're working your numbers, then you're going to reach your goals. But when you are haphazardly kind of working and don't really have a focus and are not really tracking what you're doing, then you can't always tell how you're doing. And so sometimes you have this false thing that you're actually working, but maybe you really aren't working on things that produce income. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today, and then delve a little bit more into booking and how you track that, because really booking is the lifeline of your business if you're wanting to grow your Mary Kay business. We did talk a little bit last week about Facebook marketing. That can be done. There isn't a requirement that you have inventory on hand, but I will tell you that if you have a little bit, you're going to sell it better than if you don't have it. But it's not a requirement. And a lot of people now are getting a My Shop account, and they're promoting their My Shop account and having people shop on there, which those products are automatically mailed from Mary Kay. You can do that. But I feel like if you want long-term growth in Mary Kay, then you have to have the additional piece of being able to meet with people one-on-one, chatting with them, showing them product, putting it on their face. And so you don't have to work that way, but I suggest that's the best way if you want to have the bigger business that some of us have in right now. And I've done this for 27 years, and I started out doing a lot of stuff in person, one-on-one, and that's still my strength. And I feel like that a lot of people still want that, but not everybody does. So that's kind of the cool thing. You have the option to have people buying on your website, and you have the option of really sitting down and working with people. I kind of do a blend of that. So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But first of all, I want to talk about this thing that we call full circle. So to build the best, strongest Mary Kay business that was going to last you, it's a good idea to work full circle. So you really start out with a prospect list and lead generations, focusing on the 5 ways you can generate leads. So there's several different ways, but the first one I always begin with, and that's the one that I've suggested for you guys, and we'll talk about it again in a minute, is your Franks list, which you're looking at everybody you know, and you're going to reach out to those people. That is the best way to generate leads. The second way is to get referrals from those people that already know you. And referrals would mean they could bring those people with them at an event or in person or on Zoom, and they bring them to you. And so to me, those are the best 2 ways because you're starting with people you know. Third, there's different ways you can get leads. You can do vendor events. We, as Mary Kay sales directors, we do not sell product off of our table at a vendor event, but you can get leads that way. So that is the third way that I get leads, is usually through vendor events around town. I do, 2 to 3 a year, and that helps me get new people that maybe I wouldn't have reached another way. Other ways you can do is what we call lead boxes, or you can even do like a lead, um, like in a picture frame, and you can put a QR code on there where it automatically goes to you and they can book a free makeover. And you can put those in businesses that allow you to put those in. So like your nail girl or your hair girl or anybody that you know closely that maybe you do business with, that is the fourth way you can get leads. Um, and then really, if the fifth way is probably that I use the most is probably social media, and maybe just putting it out there that you're looking for faces for this or that. It could be a new product we're doing, or like right now we have new foundations. So you could say, I want to match found this, I want to learn the new foundation. So I need 30 faces, as long as you don't have another Mary Kay consultant, which we'll talk about that in a minute as well. So those are just 5 ways. I have like 100 ways to get leads. So I can send you that sheet if you need other ways. But I would, when you first start your business, I absolutely start with the people that you know. Then you're going to book them, establishing a relationship, getting a date set, coming to try the product. You're going to pre-profile, which I'm going to give you a pre-profile script here shortly, on so that you find out about their skin and what they most want to learn, so that you can make the appointment the best it can be. And you're going to coach if you decide to have them. Then I usually try to book the facial. I call it a facial first, where it's just a one-on-one person. And then once they've determined the date and they're willing, then I say, you are welcome to bring 2 friends with you. And so then that is the referral system, basically. And it turns them into a hostess where they could earn some product at a discount, which I'll talk about too. And so you're going to coach them through that so that they possibly will bring people with them. Not everybody's willing to do that, but a lot of people, it's just more fun to do, try on makeup with their friends. You're going to learn product knowledge, and you are going to use the products yourself. And that is the best way to learn. Not everybody loves the flip chart, which we talked about that a little bit, I think, in the first week. But if you use the flip chart to begin with, it's not so scary when you're in front of 3 people, because it basically tells you exactly what to say. And you can read it word for word, or you can kind of paraphrase it as you learn it, but it is a way to get started. And then if you decide you don't want to use it going forward, you don't have to, but it helps me kind of stay on track. And then you're going to learn appointment basics, which we're going to talk about some of those today and some of those next week. You're going to have an opening. You're going to have your presentation of your product. You're going to share your Mary Kay story, which is how have you used Mary Kay in your life, and why did you decide to be a consultant? You're going to ask for referrals during the party. You will have a table close and then an individual close, which we're going to go in more depth on those next week. You're going to sell product. You're going to rebook for makeup or spa. So what I generally teach people is don't bring someone in and then show them every single product we have. Usually that takes too long, and then they're not going to want to book with you again if they feel like it's a 3 hour appointment. And you really want them on skincare. Skincare is your bread and butter. Skincare is what they're going to use morning and night and wash it down the sink. And the makeup isn't going to look as good if they aren't using good skincare. So we want them on skincare first. So we'll talk a little bit more about this next time, but we're going to sell them first on skincare and maybe some very basic color, not much. And then you want to rebook them for more of a glamour appointment, where you're just going to do color. And then if they are like wanting to bring friends and get some free product, then I book what we call spa, which is really skincare plus some additional supplements. You can also do satin hands and satin lips. You can talk about our body products and our perfumes. So you're kind of layering them every time on the product, but you're also layering them on the possibility that, oh, maybe they could do this too if they bring their friends. So that's kind of the system you want to go with when you're building your business. Um, then you could potentially book them for a sharing appointment or have them just watch. I have a Google Doc that I can share with you. It's currently housed on our Facebook page for our group, Motion's Bright Stars, and it allows them to choose between 3 videos they can watch, and then they can just answer questions about what they learned and if they have any interest. It's really good to do that. Have 5 people a month do that, because then in general, if you talk to people about the opportunity, 1 in 5 will join. But a lot of times we get complacent and we just don't talk about it. So working full circle is selling the product, but also selling the opportunity. You don't have to recruit to be in Mary Kay. But I will tell you, and I'll talk to you a little bit about this, sometimes it isn't about us, it's about the other person. And so I encourage you to just always do it as a part of your full circle selling experience, because maybe they really need it and it will help you in the long run too. It's not about us trying to recruit every single person we can recruit. We definitely want a good customer base, but we also don't want to limit somebody's ability to be able to do it or need this in their life just because we think we don't want to recruit. We want to offer great customer service. So do what you say you're going to do, follow up. You're going to do a 2+2+2 plan, which is basically following up with them in 2 days, 2 weeks, and 2 months. We're going to add them to our preferred customer program, which we talked about last time. And we're going to do prompt delivery of products either via mail or in person. If they want to recruit, that is great. Then we'll put them through the process. If not, they're going to become really great customers for you and hopefully give you more referrals. What also helps you work full circle and stay focused is to try to be involved in our unit, which means you try to attend weekly meetings, quarterly events, company events. You're not required, but I feel like you will grow more in Mary Kay if you're able to do those things. And then being accountable with your weekly accomplishment sheets each week to me, and communication with me on where you're at and what's going on and how I can help you. All of those things are a part of working full circle in Mary Kay. You are an independent contractor, so I'm not your boss. You get to choose what you want to do, but this is how I feel like you can become the most successful. So the other thing I want to show you is this little thing. Remember, I was talking about working full circle and not thinking just of ourselves, that we don't want to bug people or we don't want to recruit people, but there is this little poem about maybe she needs me. So it's been a long day and I was finishing a task. As I hurried past her, that little voice said, "Ask." Ugh, not today. I told myself I'm tired and it shows. Besides, I could look foolish and it's likely she's going to say no. While drifting off to sleep that night, I saw her face again. I wondered what her life was like, her dreams, her needs, her pain. What if she had been praying for a friendly word or smile, the chance to meet somebody that would go that extra mile? What if she'd been looking for a break, an open door? Was this the opportunity that she'd been praying for? I saw the car she would not drive, the ring she would not wear, because I would not risk myself to stop to ask to share. So what if I offered her what if what I offered her was not her cup of tea? That was a choice for her to make. How selfish could I be? When all my dreams are realized, I don't want to feel regret for the lives I didn't touch and change, the no's I didn't get. Oh, let me give the true go give. Let me live the true go give, and let my mission be not, do I need her, but maybe she needs me. So that is really kind of the attitude we try to have in Mary Kay as we try to build customers and also as we try to build new team members, that we kind of take ourselves out of it and think about that other person. So one of the ways that we can track, let me show you this really quickly, is what we call a layering sheet. And I also have this layering sheet listed on our Facebook page under the files section. This has kind of been updated multiple times by Heather Daniel Kent, which is a um, senior sales director from the Kansas City area that we have worked with quite a bit. And she kind of came up with this thought process. But you can create a layering sheet as you're booking all of your new people, and then we find that people will recruit after they've had so many layers. And usually that's 3 to 4 to 5 layers. And so that's part of the reason why we want to book them for skincare, then book them for color, then book them for spa. But we also want to say, so are they on the product? Have we given them samples of things to try and followed up with that? Let me make this a little bit bigger so I can read it. Have they been a hostess? So have they come and actually brought friends with them? Have they watched the video that I mentioned? Did they give you referrals at their appointment? Have they come to an event? So currently we are plugging into, in this summer and fall of 2026, we are plugging into a national sales director who is doing events on Wednesday evenings and Thursday evenings on Zoom at 8 p.m. And so you are welcome to be a part of that if you're in my unit. And so Wednesday nights are typically customer related in terms of product sales, and Thursday nights are more marketing related, and there's guest speakers. So doing that, have they filled out a survey? We call it a What Women Want survey, where you just sit down and talk to them about what products did you like, how do you like to be best serviced, like how do you like to get, paper lookbooks? Do you like being in my private Facebook group? Do you learn about products in there? I'd love to have your feedback on how you like how that works. We have the Skin Analyzer app. Have they used that so they can see what that app is saying is the best products for them? They are in my personal Facebook group. I consider them a Pearl Girl because they have actually had an interview with myself and my director. So I mentioned earlier about the little Google Doc that they could watch a video, fill out information. Once they do that, if they're kind of like, well, I might have more questions, then what I love is for them to come up with what are their 3 to 5 questions. And then we can meet on Zoom or on a conference call, and they can just ask me any of those questions, and we'll just answer whatever questions they have. You can do paper recruiting packets that you put in with their reorder bags or with their products that just shows them, like the little brochure from Mary Kay about being a Mary Kay consultant. Have they actually sat down and just had coffee with you or with me and you? And then have you just asked them? Have you just done a build ask? So if you're wanting to build customers, and you're wanting to become a star team builder, which means you have 3 consultants underneath you, or a team leader, or you want to even move into directorship, this is a way that you can track how many people am I doing this with. And if I do this with enough people where they get 4 to 5 layers, I am going to build a team. So if that's what you want to do, then this is the chart for you, and really good for you to track. And it kind of covers everything. And you just put every single person that you are either selling to or you are facialing. Okay, so let me show you one other thing here. So in our current season, we're starting our new 26-27 seminar year, because that started on July 1st. So if you're in my unit, we are doing a Pink Points program. And so this really will lend itself to that layering sheet, because it gives you the things to work on each day, each week, each month that is going to lead you to growth that you can track. And then I'm going to give you points for them. And basically, you earn cash or an Amazon card for those points. So let's look at what some of those things are. And we've talked, I think, about all of these, but doing power hours, which we're getting ready to talk about that here in just a moment. But really, I can cover it here. Power hours are just time that you set aside each week. So what I'm suggesting is that you do 3 power hours in a month where you are just focused on contacting people for bookings, either to get them on the Zoom events that we have on Wednesdays and Thursdays or to meet with them in person. I also have some local events, usually quarterly when we have new products come out. Sometimes I have a girls' night out at my house. If you're local to Amarillo, then you can invite people to that. But that power hour is time that you spend contacting those people to come to those events or to talk to them about watching one of the videos on the Google Doc and doing any follow-up. A power hour could be done all in 1 hour sitting, or you can break it up where you do 15 minutes 4 times a week. It is really what works best for you. Sometimes people that work full-time jobs, it's easier for them to do 15 minutes during their lunch hour 4 times a week. So that is really what a power hour is. If you attend 4 meetings in the month, which is our Tuesday night at 6 on Zoom, if you hold a party, which means you have at least 3 people in front of you, if you get a new active team member, if you turn in your weekly accomplishment sheets, which we talked about those last week, 4 times in a month, if you order a cumulative either 600 or 350 wholesale. I usually give one Visa card every month. I do a drawing and everybody's name goes in it if they order at least 350 wholesale. But you're also going to double dip and get some points for that. And then if you're a star consultant, which we talked about that a little bit too in the first week, I believe, that's where you're basically selling $1,200 a month, ordering 600 wholesale. When you do that every month, you end up becoming a star consultant where you can earn basically you earn points through a Mary Kay system where you can either get a prize or you can add up those points. You can put it to travel vouchers. There's just like a plethora of things you can get free with that. And then if you're tracking how many items am I selling, and then if you tell me how many those are, then you're going to get points for those. And then in July, our challenge is to do 5 faces, which is not a huge amount, but that we're trying to just get our feet wet, get going in the new year. And I also have a group that's kind of separate from just our unit as a whole, which is called Sisterhood of Success. And if you want to be a part of the Sisterhood of Success, I put you in a Facebook Messenger group and I will post things in there a couple of times a week. And we're going to be focused on how do we get these 5 faces in the month. So each month we're going to have a different challenge. And so we're going to be focused on hitting that challenge and just additional, I may throw out there additional videos for you to watch. It's just like a little additional training. It's just a small group of consultants that are really wanting to move up. So if you want to be a part of that, you can let me know. And then I look at your status at the end of each month. If you're willing to be one of those persons that order at least every 4 months, then you're going to get extra points for that. If you attend a Wednesday or Thursday night Zoom event, you're going to get points. If you're posting, we're all in our unit trying to learn to post reels and or on Instagram or Facebook, just kind of promoting our business. If you do 3 of those in a month, then you're going to get points. And if you have 3 people watch a video and fill out the Google Doc that I was talking about, you're going to get points. And then through the year, if you, for 12 months in a row, order 600 wholesale every month, you're going to get those bonus points. If you're an all-star, which means you're a star consultant every quarter, you're going to get bonus points. Or if you move up in the career path, so you become a senior consultant or a red jacket or a director in qualification, you're also going to get extra points. So that's kind of helps all of us stay focused on these things, which are going to help us spend our time doing income producing activities. So let's go back really quickly. I mentioned the Franks list earlier, and that's our first way we want to get leads. I talked about this a little bit last time, but if you didn't do this list, this is where I would start. So your friends, your relatives, your acquaintances, your neighbors, your kids' contacts, anybody you know, any acquaintance you have, you're going to put that on that list, and those are the people that you're going to start with. If you feel like you need to do other lead generation, then do that as well. I will remind you of what we call the golden rule service, which means that when you're starting to build your Mary Kay business and you're talking to these people that you know, one of the things in Mary Kay is we try really hard to keep our customers for life. So if we've worked with that customer, if we've facialed that customer, if we've got them on our preferred customer program, we don't want to we don't want another consultant to start their business and then just take that person away from us after all of the work that we've done. So we don't want to do that to other people either. So when you're getting new leads of any kind, I always ask if you've tried Mary Kay before, and I want to know if you currently have a consultant. Because if they have a consultant that they're working with and they are getting serviced well, then you want to send them back to that person. Now, sometimes it can be a family member or a close friend of yours, and they're like, well, I'd really rather purchase from you. Then what I tell them to do, if that's truly what they want, is that they need to tell the other consultant that that's what they plan to do, because that's what I would want them to do for me. So we want to treat people the way we would like to be treated. And so our goal is not to go find all the people that are already using Mary Kay. Our goal is to find people that don't currently have a consultant that, and sometimes they have a consultant that maybe is a personal use consultant and orders every 6 months. And so they sometimes gets product from them. I'm not as worried about that. Like, I still don't want to steal anyone from anyone. But if they're not getting serviced, where they need a facial and they need a foundation swipe so they know what color their foundation is, and their consultant's not willing to do any of that, then I'm willing to help them. But normally, if they are buying from your best friend and your best friend is really treating them well, giving them books, facialing them, let them continue to buy from that person. So it'll all come back the way it should be. But that's just the what we call our golden rule service. Now, I mentioned power hour before, and remember that's time that we set aside each week. And you can break it up however you want to do it. But as I mentioned earlier, booking is the lifeline of your business. So it is really important that you have power hours scheduled so that you can book those people, and then you always have something happening on your books, basically is what we call it. And so what I do at the beginning of a month is I look at my month. If you work a regular job, like we talked about weekly plan sheets, I think that maybe last time. If you work a regular job, put that time on your calendar. If you have kids events, church events, anything like that, put that all on your calendar for the month. And then I am a paper calendar person, but you could do this electronically if you're more of an electronic person. But I will actually highlight on my paper planner, when am I willing to work Mary Kay? You're not required to work Mary Kay every little nook and cranny you have. You work Mary Kay when it's beneficial for you. And so I know that I have Zoom events on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So I'm willing to work at 8 p.m. on Wednesdays and Thursdays. I know that I can work on some during the day. I can work on some Saturdays. I'm choosing to very rarely work on Sunday. So I highlight when I can work so that when I do sit down to do power hours and to find out if they're willing, I already know where I can put them. And so then I give them a couple of choices. So I'm not being run ragged based on their schedule, but doing it based on what your schedule is. Um, there's a couple different ways to track in your power hours. And this is truly just your preference, whatever works best with your brain. But I have several different options. So this power booking plan, I do have posted in our files on our Oceans Bright Stars Facebook page. This is pretty intense, but it is helpful. It goes through let's see if I can get this to Okay. It goes through, it has a little sheet here. You can put, okay, what their name was, what their contact information is, and you're going to contact them 4 times on day 1, day 4, day 7, day 11. And so you have to keep track of that, but here are the sheets, and then you figure out what your next steps are. And it gives you what, depending on if you're a new consultant, then this is on day 1, this is your script. If this is a friend or a family person, if this is a referral, and then this gives you script 2 that you use on day 4. And this can be texting or it can be talking, whichever way, day 7 and then day 11. And it gives you the exact things to say. You can adjust it to make it more you if you need to. But this gives you kind of like that whole step process of doing booking and keeping a track of it. So I would, if you used this, I would have these sheets printed, and then I would have my layering sheet printed, and I have my pink point system printed, and I would weekly keep track of all those numbers so you can see where you're at. It's a way to really just focus. So that is one way to do booking. Another way to do booking is just to have what we call a 10 a day sheet. Calling 10 people a day is a lot. So, but it depends on what your goals are. So that's like 50 people a week you're contacting if you have really big goals. But you could break it down into 10 people a week, or however you want to do it. It depends on how fast you want to move, how much time you have, and what your goals are. But this is just literally writing their name down and their phone number, and then what happened from that phone call. So that's another way to track it versus that other sheet you found in the power booking. Um, the other, let's see if I can. There's another way. So this truly depends on what floats your boat. So this is called the bubble sheet tracking, and it also has its own scripts, but it's like a piece of paper, which I'm going to show you in just a second, of bubbles. And as you contact people, so I'll show you the bubbles here. So this is truly just different ways that you can track. This shows, like, here's a bubble. You put what her name is. If you had to leave a message, you put like a little thing here. If you spoke to someone and they said, no, I don't want to book, you put an X. But if they do want to book, then you put a little circle. And so there's like stats that tell you if you do one of these sheets every week, you're going to stay booked up with everything that you need to really build your business. So those are just different ways that you can track your bookings. And so it really is just what works best for you. And there are sheets or scripts kind of associated with all those. There's a whole sheet for the bubble sheet system that has ideas for scripts. Now, you want it to sound like you. So if you read through these scripts and you're like, that doesn't sound like me, then I would change it to match what sounds like you. The other thing that works really well is if you have the Chat GPT app downloaded, you can even put in there booking a Mary Kay skincare party. I'm a brand new consultant. What is a good script to invite my first people or whatever? And it will come up with some options for you. Again, if that's an AI tool, so it definitely gives you help, but definitely make it your own so that it's authentic. But that is another good resource. Now, I mentioned earlier about pre-profiling. So once you do get the booking, then I would pre-profile. And I usually do this via text, and I ask 4 questions. Number 1, is your skin dry, normal, combination, or oily? Because that helps you kind of know, okay, what skincare line do I need to show this person? Secondly, have they tried Mary Kate before? Then that way you kind of have an idea, okay, do they already have a consultant? Did they just try it last week, or has it been 10 years? Number 3, is there any skincare issues you would like to address? This helps you know, do they have acne? Is their skin dry? Whatever particularly, do they have puffy eyes? Like, they'll tell you what their skincare issue is. And then fourth, and I don't always do this first. Sometimes I like to build a relationship. But fourth, I either say, is there anything you would like to learn at our appointment? And then that way I can again be ready so I'm not caught off guard. Because if I'm new to Mary Kay and they ask a question I may not be able to answer, you could come to me first before, and then you kind of already know. The other fourth question you could do, and this is the one I usually do later and not on the first go around if I don't know them, is you could go ahead and say, part of my training, and this helps us work full circle, part of my training is have everyone just watch one of these videos and fill out this Google Doc just to have more information about what I'm doing. Can you do this as well before an appointment? And if so, I'll give you this. You could say $5 off or whatever you want to do on that. And then that gets them a little bit of layering and a little bit of information about what you're doing even before they come for their appointment. Sometimes I prefer to do it after I've met them, but it doesn't hurt to do it beforehand either. And so that's your choice. And then last, let's talk a little bit about, okay, you book the appointment with them. They're willing to come over. They have normal to dry skin. You're going to do time-wise miracle set, normal to dry on them, microdermabrasion, and maybe you're going to do a dash out the door color, which we're going to talk about this more next time. Dash out the door color means you're not doing a ton of glamour. It's just going to be a little bit of color, which I'll go over with you. But then you say to their, if you'd like to invite a friend or two, that would be great. If two come with you, then you can tell them what they would get for free. So there are all kinds of different hostess plans. Because you're an independent contractor, you can offer them whatever you want. You can offer them one free product. It doesn't matter. But this is my suggestion. If you're first starting and you don't have a ton of inventory, so that you're not out money, because we'll talk about money management next time, and everything you give away means profit you're not going to get. So the value in giving away is they need to give you something, like bringing referrals of people that don't currently have a Mary Kay consultant. So my suggestion, and you don't have to do this, I can help you with any hostess plan you want, is to offer them 50% off their whole order if they bring two people over 18 that don't currently have a Mary Kay consultant with them to their appointment. That doesn't make them have to sell to those people don't have to buy. There's not like, oh, they have to buy so much for you to get free. Literally, they just get their order 50% off if they do that for you, because that helps you meet new people. The way that's benefit to you is that you're really only giving them their product at your cost, but you're not out any money because you're not giving it away. You're just breaking even on the product you're giving the hostess. That's always my suggestion. So right when you're first starting, and then that way you're not giving away any of your profit. Now you're not making profit on the hostess, but you've met and facialed 3 people instead of 1. And so that's the value in that. And so hopefully that makes sense, but you can always ask me if you have an idea for a hostess plan, or you want to run past what would that look like and how much that would cost you. I'd be happy to do that. So that is all we have for this new consultant training number 3. Next week, we're going to go a little bit further in depth on your first appointments, like what do you pack, what do you show on dash out the door color, all of the things like that. And then we'll do some money management. Money management is very, very important. You are running a business, but it tends to be the last thing people want to focus on. So we will do a little bit of that next time. And I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, or you can't find any of the sheets I showed you on our Facebook page it's mostly under files. If you can't find what you're looking for, or a sheet that I showed tonight and you need it, you just can reach out to me and I will get it to you. Thanks so much for listening.